Dak Prescott, who we talked about a little bit earlier on in the show at the end of our first hour, reportedly has turned down a $30 million offer per season from the Dallas Cowboys. And there's many reasons why he may have done this. Jane Slater from the NFL Network, she has confirmed this. And there is another rumor out there floating that he wants $40 million. $40 million. This is Dak Prescott now, who has not won a thing. 1 and 2 in the postseason. Yes, he's been really good in the regular season. Yes, he had a 67.7% completion percentage, and he didn't throw a ton of interceptions. He won a lot of games. He filled in aptly for Tony Romo, now our colleague here on CBS. Hopefully we get him this week, too. It's the NFL meetings in New York. I think we're going to get a chance to talk to Tony on the show later on this week, but we'll keep you apprised of that. But had to take over for Tony Romo, rookie, so nobody expected anything for him, and he balls. He goes 13-3. They make it to the postseason. Dak's viability in the league was evident. But is he a superstar? And by superstar, I mean, are you putting it all on your shoulders and going to win a championship and elevating everybody around you to the tune of $30 million a year? My answer would be not yet. But because they got him in the 4th round, and he's making $2 million a year right now, he's been grossly underpaid for the production that he's had last couple of seasons and the success that he's had over the last couple of seasons, and the image that he carries as a Dallas Cowboy is unreal. He's not a problem child. He's the perfect citizen for the Dallas Cowboys. He's multiracial. He fits the tone for a Cowboys team that bids itself as America's team. But is he worth $40 million a year? My guess would be no. Because if you're a Dallas Cowboy, according to COO, I undertitled him, CEO Stephen Jones, you should give a hometown discount. Because if you get a ring on your finger, you can be like the Deion Sanders and the Troy Aikmans and the Moose Johnsons and all these guys that have parlayed their Dallas Cowboy stardom into unbelievable and sometimes lucrative careers. I mean, hell, I forgot Tony Romo. Tony Romo, even though I just mentioned him, he's probably the biggest star. He has changed the way that analysts look at games. It's not reactive, it's predictive. And Tony Romo's the best in the business at doing it. You just rewatch some of those intense games that he called last year. The Cowboys won. No, the Patriots. Who was that? The Patriots against the Kansas City Chiefs. And some of the decisions that were, I mean, it's like he was the quarterback. It was like he was the coordinator. So he parlayed his Cowboy, star into a superstar next career. But that's not going to work for athletes in 2019 and beyond. Here's why I think Dak Prescott is looking for more than $30 million a year. Currently, the salary cap in the National Football League is roughly $188 million. Now, some teams have a higher salary cap. It's adjusted up because of carryovers, et cetera, things that can elevate it a little bit. For the most part, it's $188 million salary cap. Next year, it's likely to be $198 or close to $200 million in salary cap. And the year after that, it's probably going to be $210 or maybe even more as new revenue comes into the National Football League. This is new stadiums, naming rights, increased revenues. The TV contracts are still 4 years out, but they're in process of being renegotiated all the time. So you never know when that's going to add more revenue. There's new ways, digital partners that are coming into the National Football League because not everybody wants to sit in front of a television or go to a bar to watch a football game. You know what? They want to watch it on their laptop or their iPad or on their phone, to be perfectly honest with you. So the digital partner money, in addition to all the other new revenues that are coming into the league, means the salary cap is going to keep going higher and higher and higher. And so just as a percentage of cap, Dak Prescott is looking at what the top quarterbacks are making. Russell Wilson's 13% or so of the cap, but that's just because of his cap number this year. But if you do it on average of his deal, he's about 18 or 19% of the cap. So if I'm Dak Prescott, and I'm Dak Prescott's agent, I would do exactly what they're doing. They're projecting what the cap is going to be in 2021 or 2022. About the time the new CBA comes in, there'll be new money, there'll be a new contract, there'll be a new deal. The cap will be $220 million. Dak Prescott is saying, you know what? For 67% completion, 28 touchdowns in total, that's rushing and throwing. It's only 8 interceptions. I'm not mistake prone. Heck, I want to make $40 million because 19% of that $15 million cap is $40 million. I get what Dak is saying. His argument is sound, but is he worth it? Especially because the Dallas Cowboys have a problem right now. It's not really one of their doing, but it just happened this way. They didn't think Dak Prescott was going to, as a fourth-round pick, was going to have to go through 3 years, and after 4 years, and on his fifth year, you're going to have to pay him this much money. Ezekiel Elliott, they have coming due, who's holding out currently. Dak Prescott, who obviously has free agent after this year, and Amari Cooper, who's on the fifth-year option, making $14.5 or so million a year and seemingly content to play out this year. But they're all coming due at the same time. The only way that this offense, which seems potent and has skill position players that are top of their position, maybe not the top, Zeke is definitely, but top of their positions, top 10 of their positions coming due at the same time, the only way for them to all stay together is if they do what Stephen Jones suggested. They're not going to do it. And so the only thing that you can predict is in the very short term, like Zeke holding out and not playing, letting them be stuck with Alfred Morris and Pollard, is to make these guys or force these guys to take under market deals. They're not going to do it. The Dallas Cowboys, before their dynasty of offensive players, the triumvirate, as they like to call it, of offensive players come together, it might fall apart because Dak not willing to play ball like Stephen Jones wants him to play ball. I don't think Dak should. Dallas Cowboy fans think he should. I don't think Dak should.